if you look, I've checked all these pipes. That's the waste pipe from the bath.
There's water down there, isn't there? The
Yeah.
toilet. There's loads of water down there.
Yeah, really.
Alright. Oh, it's there, it's the toilet.
Yeah, you service it.
It's pissing out. What's up guys, happy Sunday. Thanks for tuning in to my latest video, The Life of a Jobbing Plumber. If you don't already subscribe, please hit the subscribe button, and if you like the video, please hit the like button because it helps me out. So this week, it's been a bit of a nightmare week for me. I had problems with my tyres. I couldn't use my van for 3 days. I had to use my dad's little postman pat van, which is always a nightmare because getting all the kit out of this van into his van takes time, and obviously you get to the first job, something you need, you've not took off your van. So it just makes everything more difficult. But I feel like this week, I've been on the big job in Loughborough with Ben. I've been finishing up another big job I'm on, but I've also been kind of like a maintenance man. I got a new contract at a local hotel, so there's a couple of jobs from that. I mean, it's going to be regular work, but when I got there, they had like a massive list, and while I was there, they just kept adding little things to it. Also this week, I did a job where the tenant is a plumber, or has said he was a plumber, and told me basically what I needed before I even got to the job, so that was funny. And then, have you ever done a boiler diagnosis and then doubted yourself? Because it used to happen to me a lot when I was training or when I was newly qualified. I'd diagnose a fault and then I'd sort of second guess myself, is it really that? Especially when it was something expensive like a PCB. But I did a plate heat exchanger on a Worcester. Now, I diagnosed the fault, it was nailed on that it was the plate, but when I took the plate out, it looked clean, it looked like it was brand new. So I was like doubting myself, I was like, is this plate really blocked? I was expecting it to be black, you know, with like all crap in the ends, but it looked so clean and so new, I just sort of doubted myself. But I put the new plate in, it cured the problem, it worked fine. So there's a video on that, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Now, if you sat there wondering about my t-shirt, I got it from Abercrombie & Fitch, and I got it because this heart does something. So before I show you, I get some hate messages on social media. I think anyone who does social media gets some hate. And normally when someone sends me a hate message, they call me gay for some reason. Now, I've not got anything against gay people, but personally, I'm not gay. But they seem to use that as an insult to me. So I don't know whether I'm giving off vibes or what, but this t-shirt does this. So if you've ever sent me a hate message calling me gay, this t-shirt's for you. Right, so it's Worcester combi, and we've got an issue with the hot water. So when the hot water's on, the boiler's getting up to 100 degrees. Using my analyzer, I've got my temperature clamps on. I'm just going to record some temperatures. So the first thing I want to do, the boiler's cold, I've only just turned the power on. I've got the flow and return, so my clamps are on. The flow and the return. I just want to see when I run the hot tap if we get anything going down the heating. Just want to see what happens. Okay, so the temperature's going up quite fast. Doesn't look like anything's going around the heating circuit though, so that's good. So yeah, we've already got 93, 94, the boiler's gone out. It's not going to the radiators. Okay, now I'll put on the cold in and the hot out. Let's see what that's saying. Okay, so the boiler's just fired up again. Cold in 19.3. So what happens to the hot out? Remember, on a combi like this, we'll have a look in the manufacturer's instructions, but we should be getting a 35-degree rise depending on the flow rate. So a quick look in the manual at the performance data. So technical data for the hot water, we're on a 25 kilowatt natural gas. That's interesting. So the minimum required flow rate to activate the hot water demand. So for the flow switch or flow sensor to pick up someone's opened a tap, you need a minimum of 2.9 litres per minute. So the instruction, the performance of this one is saying we'll get a 40-degree rise, plus or minus 15% at 9 litres per minute. So obviously more than 9 litres per minute, it will be less than 40. Less than 9 litres per minute, it should be more than 40. If you follow this across, so a 25 kilowatt boiler, 40-degree rise at 9 litres per minute, 30 kilowatt boiler, it will do 11 litres per minute for a 40-degree rise. So the more kilowatt on the boiler, the faster the water that can go through it. So it's going up slightly, but the boiler is already 90 degrees. So it's gone off, it's overheated again. We've only got 15-degree rise, so we're looking at a block plate. We'll have a look inside the boiler though. So the temperature pump now on the return, on the flow. For a 20-degree differential. Yeah, look, this boiler's just gone out. Gone massive. It's going to be 50 degrees difference, I reckon. Yeah. So the problem we've got, the boiler is firing up, it's circulating through the top half of the plate like that, but because the plate's blocked, it's overheating, it's getting too hot and it's not transferring the heat to the cold water going through, so our hot water coming out isn't hot enough, and also the boiler primary side of the plate is getting too hot and the boiler's shutting down, so we're not getting any hot water. Got a massive, see, because it again should be a 20-degree differential, we're getting about 50 degrees. The boiler's gone off again. That's just going to keep climbing. So we're going to take the plate out. Obviously we've got to drain it down to do that. So cold water off, and then drain the central heating system so the boiler's not under pressure. And we're going to do that from here, and like I always do, whip this trap out and drain it into the condense. So take my condense trap out, hose is in where the condense trap would connect, and then I'm going to put that onto the drain off, and then this just turns. Hear that? That is now draining down and out through the condense pipe. Right, so now that's drained down, we've got 2 screws holding the plate in, on this side, so I'm going to undo those just a little bit. Right, so it's drained down, undone. Now there's quite a lot of room in here, so I'm hoping it's just going to drop out, but it is quite a long plate because from side to side it's not like a short one you normally go on a combi, so we'll see what happens. Just move the hot pipe out of the way, but I'll never play with it. Okay, so I disconnected the cold pipe just to move it out of the way slightly, and it came out of that gap there. So you can see where I've took that coal pipe out, a new one goes back up the same way, and then replace the washers either side and tighten that back in. That. So cold water's back on, just want to wait a couple of minutes, see if there's any drips or leaks on the cold in, hot outside of it. If that's okay, then we'll put some pressure in the system. So we've got much steadier, 54 degrees. So let's bring that up. That's max. So that's on that cold in, hot out. We've got 38-degree rise. Right, so this has been bugging me since last night. This is the plate I took out of that Worcester 25i, and because I had a 50-degree differential and I had no hot water, I was expecting this to be absolutely thick with black shit, but it looks really clean. So, but I've proved it's blocked, but it don't look like it is blocked. So we're going to cut it off and see what's going on inside. But the other option is to descale it and then reuse it on another boiler, but I just really want to know, what's going on inside, so we're going to cut it off. So we've got the, this is the Rothenberger pipe cut mini. It's like a cordless chop saw that's for pipe. You put pipe in and you can cut your pipe with it. We're going to cut this with that. Right, so we've cut it off. It's hard to see, but there is some, it's like, I don't know, it's like white stones in the corner there. Just gonna try and blast some water through it. This is the other half. Can you see that little white bit there? There's another bit there. There's definitely something in it, but I'm not sure what it is. Right, I've cut the side off as well. It's easy to see there's a lot of crap in that. So it looks like gravel or sand or something, but there's loads of it. I mean, there's big chunks as well. I don't know how it's got in there, but that's what was inside it.
So I went in there and noticed it was dripping. So I've just basically went to isolate it, stop the drip.
Yeah.
As soon as I went to isolate it and turn it, it's come off in my hand.
Okay.
I've where it's come off, it's all corroded, there's no thread. It's basically done for, mate.
Right, so a quick look and then...
Yeah, basically done for. I did tell him I could have, I do kitchen fitting and bathroom fitting.
Okay.
So I could have done it myself, but I've got no kit. That's all it was. I've got no isolation valves, I've got nothing. And I only really use 15mm, I don't really mess around with 22.
Yeah.
I was in there and everything last night, soaks everywhere and everything.
Okay, alright, okay, yeah.
Can you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just gone, mate. It's just an old system.
So have you isolated that?
I've done
Or
that.
you just tied it
yeah.
up? Okay.
I've isolated that and tied the float up, that's all I've done.
Cool. Right. So I wouldn't normally film and record what the customer was telling me. I do ask them when I go to a job what the problem was, what's happened, etc., just to get a bit of background. But I'd had the heads up from the letting agency on this one. So they called me and said, can you do this emergency call out? The guy is a plumber himself, but he doesn't want to do it because he's not going to get paid for doing it. And also they'd kicked off, the tenants wanted to claim compensation for the clothes getting wet. So I just knew it was going to be a nightmare, so I thought I'd record it and just see what happened. So needed a new gate valve. Obviously he's tried to turn the one off or on because one of his taps wasn't working. He's sheared off in his hand. I don't know what's gone on, but he tied up the float. So I basically swapped the nut and olive, put a new gate valve on, tried not to disturb any joints on that tank because it's an old system and it looked like it had been leaking. So I didn't want to have even more issues by disturbing anything on there. So just put a new gate valve on, put it all back together, left it isolated, so left that turned off while I turned the water back on because I wasn't sure what else had gone off. So all I'm doing now is filling it up, and then once it was full I opened that up and let it go to the taps. Job done. So this job I'm going to show you now is one of those jobs where it wasn't something straightforward. Now the tenant called up the letting agency with a radiator that had stopped working. So I went over looking for an issue like a broken TRV or a blockage in the pipework or no radiator, no water in the radiator, something simple like that. But it wasn't, and I spent 2 or 3 hours messing about with the system till I found out what the problem was. So this video, which I put at the time I put it on Instagram, is sort of explaining that job.
So I've got one radiator that won't work. Stone cold. There's water to the flow, there's water to the return. I've checked that. Cannot get it to circulate. Shut all the other radiators off. Ended up cutting a hole out of the wall, and I found these two isolation valves. They're open, but I'm just assuming they're blocked because we can't get any heat to that rad. So I'm going to drain it down now, take these out and have a look. Right, so I had both of them service valves off. They were clear. So then we've got two 22mm pipes run all the way along here, and then they go down to the boiler there. Where they go down, what I did was I took the two service valves off, put my thorough flush on, so I was blasting mains water down and then out at the bottom where the boiler is. And I could get it through one way but not through the other. So that tells me somewhere in this boxing between here and where we're not getting any heat going to our radiator, there's going to be a non-return valve behind there somewhere. That's my best guess. Found you, you little shit. Non-return valve. So that's coming out. Right, I'll try and explain this for those of you that don't know, apprentices, or just if you're interested. So this is a non-return valve, which means water can flow through it, but it can't come back through it. It can only go one way. So let's call it a one-way valve. So when the water hits it there, it lifts that off the seating and the water can pass through. See if it'll let go, it pops back down. But any water coming this way, can't open it. Right, it's been a while since I did this job. I'm just going to try and explain what happened, what the problem was and why I had trouble with it. So the tenants called up and said one of the radiators had stopped working. Now to me that implies that it's worked at some point and it suddenly stopped working. Now they'd had a combi boiler fitted recently, maybe in the last 2 years. So I would assume that when the combi boiler was fitted, it would have been commissioned, the radiators would have been checked, everything would have been nice and hot before the plumber or the installer left. Why would you leave a system with one radiator not working? To me, that seems normal. But that wasn't the case. So this is what I found out. So originally they had a floor standing boiler and a hot water cylinder and radiators. Now the hot water cylinder was gravity. So basically when hot water demand was on, the boiler would fire up and the heat by gravity would go up and circulate back down. The central heating would rely on a timer bringing the pump on to pump that heat around the house. Now when you're not calling for central heating but you've got your hot water on, there's a chance that the heat from the boiler can back up through the return, which is why they used to fit an anti-gravity valve or a non-return valve. So basically the heat, when you're just asking for hot water, can't creep up this way and go around the heating system. Now when they put the new combi in, they've cut this here and they've added that to the new combi. So we'll add the new combi boiler here and we're just going to connect on like that. Like that. So I've got a flow and return from our combi. This is gone now. This is gone as well. So they put the combi on. Now on this system somewhere before here they've teed off
or they used to, I don't know how it's all boxed in. Basically, we've got T's coming off before and after that go to some of the other downstairs radiators in this house, right? But this one is after this non-return valve. So it's never worked because the heat from the boiler, which is going, which way was it going? They crossed it round. So the heat from the boiler was coming out of this one, going to most of the radiators in the house, then coming back into the boiler. But this one, the heat had to go through the non-return valve, which it can't do. So that's why this one wasn't getting hot. And the way I found this out, it sounds really complicated. I assumed, because what I did originally was, I had all the other radiators on hot, turned them all off, nothing to this rad. So then I took this rad off. Have I got water coming out this side? Yes. Have I got water coming out this side? Yes. Right. Put a piece of pipe between. So I'm now got no radiator, just a piece of pipe linking this through as a loop. Still wouldn't get hot. So I'm thinking there's a blockage somewhere. So at these service valves I found, I put my thorough flush on. So I had my thorough flush. Let's just join that on like that. There's my thorough flush unit, which has got cold mains going in, and then you can change the flow. So I have my cold mains coming through, going round like this, down to the boiler, out the boiler, back round, and it was circulating fine. When I reversed the flow to send it this way, it stopped circulating. And that's because when it got to this non-return valve, this anti-gravity valve, it couldn't go through it. That's when I twigged that they'd left an anti-gravity valve in. So then I had to investigate all inside the boxing, and eventually I found it. But it just goes to show you one of those things that can trip you up. I mean, I reckon I spent 3-4 hours here till I worked out that was there. And you can't always trust what a tenant says, because that rad never worked, even though they said it's just stopped working. And also, some jobs aren't straightforward. Like, I remember a job I did, this is when I was quite new, working on my own. I went to quote to change a radiator for someone, just had a quick look at the system. They wanted a radiator putting in their little garage room. So I said, yeah, I can do that. So I took the bedroom floor up, teed into the flow and return, ran pipes down to a radiator, wouldn't circulate. So I thought, I've got an airlock. So I tried everything, again, turned all the other rads off, trying to force the heat to this new radiator I'd fitted. Had to go away to another job. It weren't well out until I was out driving did I suddenly twig, oh, I bet it's a one pipe system. So then I went back and it was a one pipe system. So I took basically both pipes to the radiator off one pipe. It was never going to work. So I had to then go back under the floor, change it all over. But yeah, it just goes to show you sometimes some jobs can be an absolute bastard. Right, so I just got a contract in a local hotel, and the first job they've given me is this shower valve. So it's basically running all the time. When it's up in its rail, it's dripping, obviously keeping the hotel guests awake. So got to change this valve, but there's nowhere to isolate the supply to it. Thought about maybe doing it live, because I was just going to undo these, but the water pressure is epic. Red hot, so I've got no chance of doing it live. So I was hoping, because there's nothing on the other side of the wall, there's nowhere obvious to turn the water off just to that shower valve, there would be something in this void here to isolate it, but there isn't. There's just two service valves for this tap, and then the pipe comes through the service valve there for the toilet. And what I have found, because the bath is sunken, I took this panel off here, and we've got a raised floor, timber floor. Now I'm just going to put my flash on. If you can see on the left, there's a gate valve there. There's two pipes come this way, there for a radiator on the other side of the wall. I'm thinking maybe there's isolation for that shower in the corner, which means taking this piece of panel off. So we'll have a look.
It's down, yeah.
So come back the next day, Chris has cut, well, he tried to get the panel off, he tried to get the floor up. This panel, you see how thick this panel is? And it's pinned in at both edges, it's screwed below the floor level, so it's just not coming out, so he's cut a hole in. So you can see now that gate valve, which we've turned off, and that's killed the hop. So the hop to the shower and the bath tap. The cold's still on.
is not amazing, but if we open the other tap, it slows it right down. So I think we're going to risk it and do it live and flush the toilet as well. So, right, here we go. So I've got a new shower valve with the hose attached. I've got it turned on, so when I push it on, hopefully when I push it on, the water goes through it and out of the hose rather than spraying out sideways, because if you do anything with water live, say you're putting a service valve on or a gate valve on, if you do it with it shut, the water just can spray. If you do it with it open, the water can just carry on through the pipe. Just double check the pipe centres. We'll get the cold one on, which is going to be...
Well, they're not right. The centre's right.
It's very slightly too...
So the old is off?
That's the old top, yeah. Shoot out this way, so a little bit. That's fine.
Well, that's not bad, is it? Not too bad at all.
Love it when a plan comes together.
Amazing.
So because the valve was open, that's the cold coming through. So we can shut that off now. Turn that water back on and then we'll test it.
Dripping now because it weren't dripping yesterday. I've been up there and I've run some taps. I've run the bath tap.
Just the bath?
Yeah.
Right.
I've took the bath panel off to have a look and run the bath taps. And there is a bit of water around the bottom of the toilet,
Let's go and
but
have a look.
I'll show you.
It looks like where it's coming through is more like under the toilet, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So if we look under in that service hatch, see if we can see behind this toilet.
Yeah.
Is there a service hatch the other
Yeah,
side?
yeah. There is water down there.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, I was just about to show you that. So if you look, I've checked all these pipes. That's the waste pipe from the bath.
There's water down there, isn't there, in the
Yeah.
toilet? There's loads of water down there.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, it's there, it's the toilet.
Yeah, you service it.
It's pissing out.
Is it or not?
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much.
It's getting, isn't it?
This whole thing moves, which means it's not connected in the back of the toilet.
Hey?
Oh yeah, it does move.
It's not in the pan, is it?
No, that's why.
That's why.
We can do it from this side, but that's perished. So it's even though I've pushed it back in, it's not grabbing it. It needs a new cone. So, new flush pipe cone. Also, it's leaking above. Fucking been leaking a while.
You got one?
No, it's not in my van. I'm in my dad's van because my tyres.
Oh yeah.
You can fetch it, but you can't use that toilet until it's fixed.
No.
So these hotel rooms, you've got a suite there and a suite there. This is the toilet that's leaking in this one, and you have a service hatch between the two. This is the old part of the hotel, as opposed to the new part where I've just done that shower. There's nothing like this. These are good, but they're not very well maintained. A lot of it's original, or it's been sort of repaired over the years and not done properly. But basically, this isolation here is for the toilet, so I've turned the water off to that now, and I can't flush it because it's going to come through, so I'm just going to suck the contents out of my wet vac, whip that flush pipe off, clean it up, and then replace the flush pipe cone and re-washer the siphon, because obviously it's been leaking. You've seen the stains on it from underneath, so that's the job. But yeah, I like these hatches. So just gonna wet vac this out. Already. They don't hold much, these little wet vacs. Now what I don't want to do is empty this down the toilet, because it would just come straight through to going in the bath. So that's the old one out. Obviously it's been leaking for a while. This obviously is longer than a normal flush pipe, so I'm just going to clean it up, and then we'll replace washers and the flush pipe cone and stuff like that. Got some PTFE there, and then we're going to take that back nut off and put a new washer on this siphon, because that's been leaking as well. You've probably seen this before, but this was my granddad's, just a metal loop, so I've got most things I need to repair something like this on this loop, and I'll just replace what needs replacing. So took that off, new one of them, new washer on, new one of them, new washer on. So that's all ready to go, and then new nut, washer, and new flush pipe cone, and I'll just clean that up a bit. This compression joint's okay, so I just got to put that back in now. Then we'll turn the water on and test it. And then we've got this one. This is a downstairs one. We've got a leak, and it's coming from the gland of this isolation valve there, look. So it's just dripping down. Let's just repair that next. So you can see that I've got my PTFE in the gland, and then that will just tighten back in. Just get the grips on it. Just one thing to be aware of, the tighter you do that, the more difficult it will be to turn these, so make sure you don't over tighten it, or just once you've done it, test that you can actually turn it like that. Honestly, the longer I was here, the more jobs they kept giving me. I've got a massive list of maintenance jobs to do, but while I was here, they showed me this. So the men's urinals haven't been flushing. There's a battery pack connected to the systemizer, which fills up the cistern, and then when it's full, it flushes. It's on a timer, because the batteries ran out, obviously it stopped filling. So new batteries, connected it back up, then this will allow the cistern to fill and then flush the urinal. So another little job ticked off my massive list, but it should be good.